Hey, have you heard about Podcast On? This is a global podcast charity event where hosts dedicate one episode to a nonprofit they care about and release it together the same week. No fundraising, no fees, just powerful storytelling for good. Podcast On 2026 runs March 14th to March 20th. Join thousands of podcasters worldwide and use your voice for impact. It's free, it's simple, and it starts at podcasthon.org.
The Marketing Podcast Network is a proud partner of Podcast On.
You enjoy podcasts. We know because you're listening to one. Hi, I'm Jason Falls, the executive producer of the Marketing Podcast Network. We love podcasts too, so much so that in addition to providing you with a great episode you're listening to, we also help businesses, brands, and even individuals produce their podcasts. MPN Studios offers podcast consulting and production services to help you get you or your business its very own podcast. We've helped dozens of smart people, advertising agencies, and brands develop podcasts. All you do is record your content or interview. We take that and deliver a professionally produced audio or video episode, complete with show notes, transcriptions, and even promotional clips to use on social media. And our monthly subscription prices are hard to beat. If you or your company are jonesing to have your own podcast to establish thought leadership, drive business leads, or just have fun talking about your business or topic of choice, we'd love to help. Learn more at marketingpodcasts.net/studio. That's marketingpodcasts.net/studio.
Are you noticing your car insurance rate creep up even without tickets or claims? You're not alone. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry handles the legwork by comparing quotes side by side from over 50 top insurers so you can confidently hit buy. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Jerry even tracks rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Don't settle for higher rates. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/libsyn today. That's jerry.ai/libsyn.
Marketing is hard. But I'll tell you a little secret. It doesn't have to be. Let me point something out. You're listening to a podcast right now, and it's great. You love the host. You seek it out and download it. You listen to it while driving, working out, cooking, even going to the bathroom. Podcasts are a pretty close companion. And this is a podcast ad. Did I get your attention? You can reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a pre-produced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience and their favorite podcasts with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com, that's LIBSYN, ads.com today.
Welcome to Your Radiant Spirit, a space for the conversations and colors that help you see yourself more clearly. I'm Heather Eck, an intuitive artist and guide, and I believe your soul speaks in the ways the mind can't always put into words, through color, energy, and the stories your body holds. This show is where we explore those messages. Through personal stories, deep conversations, and creative insight, we'll uncover what's been hidden, release what no longer serves, and begin to imagine what's possible when you live in full alignment with who you're meant to be. What you hear here is more than inspiration, it's an opening, a chance to feel the shift that could change everything. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's step into today's conversation. Well, I'm sitting here with my friend Deb, and I'm so excited to see her because this is our third attempt at recording our podcast.
Which we haven't done yet.
No, we still haven't. But I'm so glad to be with you today, and I thought we could start with just doing a little quick color reading, a little energetic color reading.
Because, and for those, who aren't us, don't know this, I can't help myself. Every time I talk to Heather, I'm like, so how are my colors? How am I doing? Because I love the fact that color, it's logical and spiritual simultaneously, which I totally get behind.
I love that. I feel like every time I talk to you, I think I need to hire you to just be my hype woman and just follow me around and tell people who I am and what I do. You're so much better at it than me.
Says the woman who just left a beautiful testimonial on my news site, theproposalexpert.com. So thank you. Mutual Admiration Society here for sure. So Heather, how are my my colors?
Your colors are, so we spoke last week and I said you had the yellow green energy and you still do. It's still around you. You have a lot more yellow than you do green today, which is interesting because that means to me like you are really moving through a shift in your sense of identity. The yellow sits at the solar plexus, which is the source of our source of identity, both how we see ourselves and how other people see us. It's also a place of confidence, courage, self-will, really like taking care of ourselves and expressing ourselves in the fullness of who we are. And so I think based on some shifts that I know that you're making in your life, that yellow is sort of moving through you and is billowing out around your head. Like you're in your head thinking about doing all the things and making it happen.
Yes, and because we subscribe to the improv philosophy of continuing conversations, it's so true because, well, you know me, I'm goal girl. You were in my book, 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting. And in the last year and a half, and really in the last 3 months, I have been leaning into my specialty of helping people with book proposals. And I had a conversation today with my agent and I'm like, I get the impression I should really just focus on my book proposal expertise as the author of books on goals. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to turn anybody down who says, come on, Deb, do a goal conversation, or let me bring you in, or let's talk about your book, because that's part of my author persona. But so many people have these beautiful ideas they want to write and they stop themselves and they don't realize that they need a book proposal and sample chapters. I mean, and
Mm-hmm.
I say it's like it's nothing. It isn't. But it is also not writing a complete book. And there's so much power in owning your gift, which is what I'm basically living what I teach. And yes, I am gifted at goals. I set the DEB method, all of the things.
Mm-hmm.
But because of my DEB method philosophy, but also my years as a writer, as a published author, working in publishing, um, living in that world, along with my communication and project management forte. I mean, my mother, God bless her, I miss her, would be like, I told you so.
I love it. I love it. Well, I met you through your show,
Right?
Goal Chat, Goal Chat Live, years ago. It has to have been years now, I imagine.
I really think like a year and a half.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because I sent out the proposals spring of 2024 for 52 Secrets. And I think I met you between sending out the proposal and getting the yes, because the concept of the book was to interview achievers in business, tech, entertainment, food, creative fields, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, I just reached out to people who I'd had on that and my Two Spuds with Zeb podcast to really get a nice cross section. And I love the power of color. Again, is logical, but also spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
There is an impact. Uh, or maybe I did meet you before because you told me purple,
Uh-huh.
and
That's
I've been
right.
hanging around my mother's purple painting when I got that book deal.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I
Yeah.
like that.
Okay. Now I have to Google when we were introduced. So give me a second.
Yeah.
What other things are you seeing for my color, and what do I need to do to like dive even more in?
Well, I mentioned this when we first hopped on. We were in the green room together that I still want to do your spirit portrait because the spirit portrait's going to actually show you what is happening within your spirit, where you might be feeling blocked or stuck. And so what I see when I'm just sort of doing like an energy snapshot is just a quick color around your head that sort of tells me that you're hanging out in that solar plexus. That solar plexus could be affected by a number of different things. It could be affected by something that happened earlier today or when you were 3 years old. And so really it sort of sits, you're sort of percolating in that yellow energy right now, which is really just telling me that you're working on how you see yourself and you're working on how you want to be seen in the world. And so if I were to give you some therapeutic art exercises to work through, I would ask you to write out who you are today and who you want to be, or how you want to be seen, or who you want to be known as, but to really sort of move into that space of identity and look for what is it that you value? What is it that you want? How do you want to be seen? And then, honestly, another exercise, I just had a client do this too. One thing that might be really cool is to, and you can draw this, paint this, or doodle this, or just write it, is to go back and look at your life and mark out major milestones that you've hit along the way, or major things that have happened in your life. It could be like, I mean, like for me, it would be we moved a lot as a kid. Um, I tried out for every sport and was really bad at it.
I auditioned for every show in high school. That's so hilarious.
So you could mark out those big moments in your life and then reflect on where you've been. And then you can sort of imagine or visualize where you want to go. So you're sort of mapping out this visualization of this path that you're on. And you're starting to then visualize and shape your sense of identity and who you want to be and how you want to be known.
Okay, so that's really interesting. So the DEB method is all about determine your mission, explore your options, brainstorm your path. So you can't get what you want the way that you can't get what you want unless you know what that is. This is basically the essence of DEB. And one of the things I tell people is, you start with visualization, think about the life you want. What does that look like? And then it's your current bio and then your future bio in the present tense, of course, and then you write your mission statement and your motto. And I have not done this as book proposal expert, Deb. I've done
I
that.
just got chills.
Yeah, I have done this as goal Deb, and I also have, and it's almost like I skipped. Well, I've updated my current bio. I skipped the future bio because I jumped right to, book proposal simplified as opposed to goal setting simplified. Modification, same philosophy, same process. But I did not, the step of, yes, I am a writer. I can speak in complete sentences, but only when I want to. I have not yet done the step of writing the future bio of this expertise. And like I said, I've worked in all areas. I started my goal group started as writer support groups. I have worked in all different areas of publishing, and I know, and I think it was back like 20 years ago or so when Vanity Press started, and Vanity Press was and still is a bad thing. But when publishing became accessible, I remember my mom saying, maybe you should lean into that. So when I say I told you so, I really mean I told you so. Isn't that just bizarre?
I mean, I want to say yes, but I think that so often I think this is why going back and doing this exercise is so important, because a lot of the time we are being prepared for where we need to be or where we're going along the way. We just don't look at it that way until we've had time to process it. And so it's funny to me to hear all of that about your background and know that's where you came from working with writers, and that's where you're going again.
And yes, and
Yes, and
um, if you think about it, I mean, really think about it, I still needed to do all of the other things to
yeah,
boomerang back to this.
yep.
And November 2023 is when we were introduced. So November
No way.
15th, 2023,
We're coming
which
up on
is
our 2-year anniversary.
almost exactly. So we're recording those 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks shy of knowing each other for 2 years.
Well, I'm really thankful to know you. I think, I started podcast guesting a couple of years ago. I just said to Anastasia, she's my booking agent, that I've been with her for 2 years. And I've learned so much during that time. It has been so much fun. But I mean, I wouldn't have started this show. I don't think you and I would have had the kinds of conversations that we've had. I don't think I would have been connected to so many amazing people. Like, it's really remarkable. And what I love about being able to connect with folks like you in like a podcast format is that we're meant to collaborate with one another. I truly believe that. And these little connections, these little links that you make along the way, you can continue to add to them and go on and do things, or you don't. And personally, I love to add to my links. I want a long chain.
Well, it's what I say all the time, which is you can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people.
Hmm.
And the more people in your tribe, the more people who are in your tribe, because your community expands when you're part of other people's communities.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
It,
true.
and the other thing I will add is, so we were introduced the beginning of November. In December, we confirmed that you were going to come to my meet and greet. So we didn't meet until January.
Oh,
So we were introduced in November and we met the beginning of January because I do these meetups once a month. Now, when I was doing them 2 years ago, year and a half ago, it was more, I would get introductions of people I don't know for people to be on Goal Chat. And I
uh-huh.
would say, that's great. I'm happy to have more people in my circle, but I can't put you on my show until I've met you because they're panels and I need to get a feel for the tone and the vibe and who I'm going to put together and what have you. And now I do them on the third Wednesday of the month at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. And it's more like a goals mixer. And also, if you want to be on the show, come hang out. And that way we get to know each other.
Which is so cool.
Yeah, so
So
cool.
cool. I love
Okay,
it.
so I need to do the milestone-y thing, but
Hmm.
what other things can I do? Because we've talked about meditating with colors and
Yeah.
visualization. What else you got?
I would sit with the color yellow. If you are opposed to wearing it, that's totally fine. You can sit and meditate and visualize with it. And I would imagine that you have this golden ball of light that's sort of building in your belly. And with each breath, it expands and expands and expands until it's sort of covering your whole being. And then let that color just sort of, I was going to say, like reverberate, like move in and out, let it flow. And then what I would do is imagine, I was playing with this yesterday. Imagine that you're a magnet and all of the things, beliefs, feelings, goals, whatever it is, imagine that you are pulling them in and sort of visualize them coming towards you and play with what that feels like. But what the heart of what we're trying to do, I think, is always play with the emotional feeling underneath what it is that you want to bring towards you. So if you want to be globally renowned for being the book proposal expert, sit in the feeling of what that feels like for you and conjure up that positive emotion of what it feels like when you can say to somebody, I'm globally known for helping people write and submit their book proposals. And I've helped X number of people, blah, blah, blah. Like sit in the energy of that.
My agent just signed another one of my clients, and she sent me flowers yesterday, and there are some gorgeous yellow flowers in there.
Oh,
So where should I do the placement of these flowers?
I'd put them near where you work.
It's a little messy in here. Okay. I'll put it on. No, I've got my desk in the dining area.
Hmm.
I will put it on there.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
so nice.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
already pulling that color in. It's already
well,
part of you.
that's why it was like in these gorgeous, yeah. I mean, there are a couple sunflowers, but this other yellow flower that I'm not familiar with that is just absolute beauty.
I love it. I love it. Oh my
Okay.
gosh, that's so exciting.
That this is the thing, and this is what I tell my experts, the people that I work with on their proposals, I say, the moment you claim your expertise, listen, Heather, I'm also talking to you.
Oh,
The
I hear
moment,
it.
right. The moment you claim your expertise, you are the king or queen or goddess or whatever title you want of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know in your soul that this is the gift that you have to share with the world. Miss Queen of Color. Um, when you know that impacts. So it's actually exactly what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
When you know it impacts everything that you do, when you sit in that feeling of joy and love and excitement, and at least for me with the book stuff, it's letting people, part of the mission is helping people create book proposals that will sell,
Mm-hmm.
and we're doing that into their lives. The other part of it is, well, part of it is that, but part of it is owning it. But the biggest part of it is you don't know who needs to hear your words.
Mm-hmm.
So by gifting yourself the time and the energy to put it all together, that gift you're giving to yourself you're wrapping a gift that you're going to be giving to other people. And then the other part of it is traditional publishing. There
Mm-hmm.
are so many ways to publish nowadays, and if you for some reason want or need to get a book out, doing it yourself or hybrid, do it so it looks professional.
Mm-hmm.
Do it for your purpose. But for the 99% of everybody else, if you have words to share, you're going to put in all this time and energy to create this book proposal, to write this book. Why wouldn't you want it in front of as many people as possible?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want the credibility and the distribution, the cachet, the power that comes with getting it out in the world? I answered your question on my most recent book proposal podcast. I don't know if you saw it. It was, what is
I
the
just listened
submission?
to it. Yeah.
What is the book submission process? And there is a line in it where I talk about people make a big mistake with their query. They spend all this time on their book proposal, their overview, whatever it is, and then they just jot off a quick query. Why would you not put the same amount of time and energy into the query letter as you put into the, I'm sorry, yeah, as you put into the book?
Mm-hmm.
If you're putting all this time and energy in writing a book, why wouldn't you put in a little more effort and get it out in the world the right way?
Right.
So there's that. I'm thinking this might actually be our podcast. What do you think?
I think we should just keep it rolling.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I love the way this is going. We're just going to keep it rolling.
Okay, so no, I'm
But
done. I don't know any other things. I'm kidding. I love your blue nail polish though.
oh, thank you.
My toes are blue. They're a lighter blue,
Yeah.
but they match
These
because
are
they are
press-on
blue.
nails.
Are they really?
Mm-hmm. This is my new favorite thing. You press them on and they stay for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and then they come off. And it's great. And I love that I can change them easily. But I love this royal blue, which supports the third eye. It's like a lapis lazuli kind of color. But all right. Well, I really want to know because as for knowing you for nearly 2 years, I don't really know much about like your background, how you got started. How did the DEB method come to be? Like
You
tell me that story.
seriously not heard this story?
Mm-mm.
I
I
feel
have
like I tell
not.
this story to so many people. So I don't know how far you want me to go back. So I will synopsisize. Yes, I am a writer. People pay me. Um, I was doing events for Barnes and Noble. This is back when I lived in Chicago in the 90s. And whenever I needed to fill my calendar, I would hang out in the cafe because I wanted it to be a community bookstore, a bookstore for the community. And one day, one of my regulars said, "Would you start a writer support group?" And I said, if you think people show up, let's give it a shot. And for me, that meant, what did you accomplish? What are you working on? How can we support you? And what are your goals for next time? So it was a hit, but I also discovered the power of goal setting because I was never going to ask people to do anything that I wasn't prepared to do myself. And I went to journalism school, and I had the plan, was to be a writer, freelancer, or whatever. And I started working at the bookstore and I loved it. And then the events job opened up at a different Barnes and Noble, so I went over there, but I still wanted to be writing. And so my goal for every meeting was to write a slice of life story. So I had it. And as it turned out, and this is also really funny, I thought I was going to write the great American novel. I was that person, in high school.
Uh-huh.
There were people who would speak at the bookstore on screenwriting. I thought that was interesting, and I had taken a screenplay class. I got my freelance writing break a week after I wrote my first screenplay. I went to an event, and this, talk about foreshadowing, because I've also been known to speak about setting goals for attending events. I went to this event thinking, I'm going to find a magazine, I'm going to find a place to write for. And like I said, this was within a week of finishing my first screenplay. I got my freelance writing break because somebody was selling subscriptions, and I said, are you looking for writers? And because I had these clips that I would just slice of life, fun little essays, I had spec articles to show them, and they actually ended up publishing one of them as is, and I ended up writing entertainment and lifestyle for them for a few years. So that even if I was writing my article the morning of our meeting before I drove into work, it got done because I had a community. It's very much, if they can do this, so can I.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward, moved to LA. I talked about this wonderful group, and I restarted it here, and it in 2002. And it went through a couple different locations, couple different evolutions. For a time, it was a hybrid, online only, or it was offline, a hybrid, online, whatever configuration.
Uh-huh.
And now it's actually back to its latest incarnation, is this goal mixer that I do once a month for just people who want to hang out with cool people
Uh-huh.
and or potentially want to be on Goal Chat Live. But as I'm doing this group, which at the time was at Barnes & Noble in Santa Monica, people come up to me and say, you're good at this. I've been trying to write my book for years. Can you help me? And we got it done in 3 months. Or,
Wow. Okay.
Deb, you're good at this. Will you speak at my events? So I was just refining the way that I look at goals,
Mhm.
right? Which is foundational. And I was just leaning into this. I was for part of the time, I was working other places, freelancing, in, I remember around 2008, it was like around the time social media was getting mainstream, I was playing with it for Write Out Online, which is what it was called. It's still a Facebook page and a Facebook group, all about goal setting, productivity, and community. Um, so I learned social media by creating things for Write Out Online, and I ended up working at an ed tech company for a little over a year, setting up their blog and social media. And then I wrote for Social Media Examiner for a few years and did special projects for their events, all while still doing these goal workshops, really leaning in. And then my main client decided that they weren't going to utilize my services anymore. And this was 2 weeks before their annual conference, which I was already committed to going to because I was running the Content Concierge program. Literally in the middle of the conference, at the start of the new month, I was no longer one of their people. What do I do? My mom says to me, you hate SMART goals. Why don't you create DEB goals? So I took that as a sign to really step in to what I believe I was meant to do, which is help people figure out what they want and how to get it.
Mhm.
And my name worked with that, what I've been teaching for years. So it's determine your mission, explore your options, brainstorm your path. So determine your mission, can't get what you want unless you know what that is. Found very foundational. Explore your options, great. This is the life you want, but what does that look like? What do you need to create to get there? And then brainstorm your path is all about making a plan. Taking everything out of your brain you need to do, organize it, divide, conquer, whatever, make a plan. So, Deb, determine your mission, explore your options, brainstorm your path. And what I did was I threw together a website, anecdotally tested it when I was at the conference. What do you think of a goal setting system that was foundational? Because everybody tells you how to achieve your goals, but nobody starts at that fundamental first step.
Right.
Well, I do. Anyway, come back couple weeks later. I was doing a live group at the time, and one of the women in my group, her goal was to do more networking. And she was in an event and sat next to this man who became my agent. And they were the only two people, or the only person each other of them met. And we figured out that I had actually heard my agent speak at an event like 5, 6 years before that. Because we're like, I know your name. Yes, I know your name too. How do we know each other? Anyway, we figured that out, which was, it's always nice when it's like, where have I seen this person before? And then you figure it out. Anyway, he asked me, where's your book? And I said, I self-published too. Did you have a question or do you want me to just keep going?
No.
Okay. Um, um, where's your book? It said I self-published two. The first one, Purple Pencil Adventures, writing prompts for kids of all ages. The second was Write on Blogging, 51 Tips to Create, Write, and Promote Your Blog. And these were intentionally self-published because the first one, I was working with authors, and I didn't want to be a poser, so I took one of my ideas. In leading the group, one of the regulars said, "My daughter's not getting enough creative writing at school. Will you coach her?" And of course, my entrepreneurial brain goes, "Okay, well, if I'm coaching her, then I need a website." So I started purplepenciladventures.com, and so I was doing writing prompts on the blog. It still took me 9 months to write because I wanted to fill things in and do photos and whatever, but I was working with authors and I felt I should have a book. That was why I wrote that one. The second one, Right on Blogging, is this conference that I wanted to speak at, and they're like, well, you need a book. And I figured for a blogging book, which is very interactive, lots of links, it didn't need to be anything other than an ebook.
Okay.
So I put that out, and then I got the well, no, your staff, we don't want you speaking. And anyway, I probably shouldn't have said their names since I'm saying not terribly complimentary things about them, but I had very specific reasons for writing those two books.
Yeah.
Anyway, my friend who goes to this event, because networking was one of her goals, introduced us. We do a phone call. He asked me about my books. He said, what are you working on? I said, well, I'm working on a new book called The DEB Method, which I am going to self-publish, sharing my philosophy for how you create the foundation for your goals. And he said, what is your goal? And I said, to be the first person people think of when you hear the word goal. And when they hear the word goal. And he said, well, then you should try and get it published mainstream. Send me your book proposal. So I wrote a book proposal. And then I had done a version of this because I did a podcast called Guided Goals 2015, 2016 that I put a pin in because I wanted to write this other book. You have to, and this is like the number one lesson of goal setting, is you need to prioritize. What is the most important thing for you? I could not continue that version of my podcast and get this book done. So I put a pin in it. So I had written something. I didn't start from scratch. The ideas were already kind of brewing, which is a level of detail you probably don't need, but too bad. Anyway, wrote the book proposal. He had 2 notes from me. One was my detailed outline needed to be more detailed, And the other was I needed a sizzle reel, because when someone buys a book, they're buying you, which I know sounds terrible to put it in that language, but I don't have a better way to say it. They're investing in you as you the expert. So I took some interviews, I did a couple lives, I put them all together, put a 3-minute reel. This was really interesting. I did a show over the summer. Someone actually played my sizzle reel back to me. I've been talking about the same thing for a long time, because I was like nodding along with me, giving advice as we're watching it. Anyway, made a couple edits. He set it out in 2 batches. And the second time he sent it out, I changed one line. And it was, where other goal setting books tell you how to achieve your goals, only the DEB method helps you set the foundation. And my publisher expressed interest. It turned into the book that became your goal guide, a roadmap for setting, planning, and achieving your goals. The publisher was interested, but they wanted a different name. They wanted to theme it out, so it got a road trip theme. And you know it was a really interesting exercise in, it's the same content, but it just wrapped in a way, a very digestible way. It's like, okay, we need to theme it up. We have 2 choices: working out or road trip. Well, no one will believe me as an advocate for fitness, which is kind of hilarious given what the book I've got coming out in a year is. Come to think of it, wow, my brain is having a field day going in so many different tangents. Anyway, they expressed interest. We redid the proposal. I got the yes, wrote the book in 3 months. It came out in January 2020. So, 6 weeks before the world had changed by circumstance, out came my book to help people embrace change by choice or by circumstance. Because and that was a lot of why I did these workshops. Why you couldn't stop me if someone was miserable. I'd be like, well, you do have. We can't always change everything. But we can usually change something. I didn't understand why people would commute 3 hours to a job they hated. I mean, commute to a job you love, or don't commute to a job you hate. And you know what I mean? I had a friend who lived in the valley. He couldn't stand his roommate. He hated the commute. And I said, what if you moved? And it never occurred to him. And he ended up moving to a very small shoebox apartment in Santa Monica. And he was much happier. I mean, he lived in a smaller space, but the commute was less. And he didn't have the annoying roommate.
Exactly.
But like I said, it's a simple adjustment. Even like, let's say you can't quit your job. Most people cannot. What is something you can do on the side? What can you build that's going to make you happy, that you can do in tandem with whatever else you're doing, because that's going to make you happy. And it's going to help your disposition. You're going to be better at your gig, or maybe it will grow into something. You don't know. But at the very least, if you cannot change your job, you can spend 15 minutes a couple days a week on building something that's going to make you happy. Anyway, so that brought me to, where are we, 2020? Yeah, started Goal Chat in the spring after the pandemic. Everybody was looking at ways to connect with people. End of that year, it changed from an interview to a panel format, because I wanted to, how do you throw a holiday party when you can't leave the house? Well, you throw together a bunch of people who don't know each other. So for my goal chats, unless it's on purpose, my guests do not know each other. And usually it's 3 people, sometimes it's 2, and we're just diving into the topic of the week. And it is my greatest joy when I see the people who are guests on my show together being interviewed on each other's podcasts, or doing some sort of endeavor together. And so in a lot of ways, that led to 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting. The secret to success is there is no one secret. So I know it's 52, but I did 60, because there's a bonus to each chapter, and Guy Kawasaki wrote the afterword. But I just asked a bunch of people. Most of these I did as interviews. There were less than a dozen via email. I said, what is your secret for setting or getting goals? And that is the book.
I
So,
love it.
so in tandem of that, when I submitted the book proposal, in both of these books I've written in less than 3 months, because when you've got a solid book proposal, you have a roadmap, you can easily write it. But my publisher said, I can't believe you wrote this in 2 weeks. It's better than proposals that I've seen people slave over for months. Do you do this is this part of your business? And I said, it's more Deb's secret menu. Should it stop being a secret? Yes. So, like I said, the last year and a half, I've really been leaning into it. Then over the summer, I started the book proposal Substack because bookproposals.substack.com was available. I started the book proposal podcast because there are specialists in the world of publishing, literary writing, whatever. They do a lot of things. But as far as I know, I am the only one who is laser focused on the roadmap for creating your book, which dovetails beautifully with my love of goals, because it really goes back to when you think about the life you want, what does that look like?
Yeah.
When you think about the book you want to write, what is it that you have to offer the world? What makes it unique? Why does the world need your book? It is different, but it's really the same. It is your voice, your story, your experience to help people live a better life.
Chef's kiss.
Yes. So, in answer to your question, that's how I got here.
I love this so much. The first thing, how do you know Guy Kawasaki?
Okay, so I had met him at a couple of different events, meet and greet or whatever. And I had it in my head that I wanted him in my book. And what I was doing is I was interviewing people, but also I'd say, who else do you know who needs to be in my book? And I was talking to my friend Bryn Tillman of Social Sales Link, and Bryn said, she gave me like a list of 5 people. And then I said, what about Guy Kawasaki? Do you have any idea how I can get to him? And she said, well, Larry Levine, who I told you need to interview anyway, just interviewed him. So when you're done interviewing him, you can ask him. And that's what I did. He sent me the email address for his person. And I got a response like within 12 hours. Yes, happy to do it. It took a little juggling because it was around 4th of July. And originally we were going to do it the original one was scheduled for like 2 days later, but because it was 4th of July weekend, we ended up, it doesn't matter. But it was that simple. I had it in my head that he needed to be part of this book because he's all about, and his tip is about the grit mindset, right?
Yes.
Oh, and I see. And do you have your copy of 52 Secrets in front of you?
I do.
Okay.
But what I wanted to tell you was that I met Guy at the company that I used to work in. I helped coordinate bringing him to do a keynote.
Oh, that's
for us.
awesome. You mean I could have asked you?
I was like, this is so funny to me. This is why I love things so much because yeah. It amazes me how connected everybody is. When you said his name, I was like, wait, I don't think we've talked about this. But I met him and he gave me a copy of his book because I helped him out to get his keynote and everything going.
That was so nice of him.
I
But
know.
yeah, I mean he was great. We talked for a while. And he has ended up being, like I said, embrace the grit mindset, something like that. And so I got all of these tips and then I got to put them in order. I categorized them into 7 different chapters. And I'm
Yeah.
like, guys, got embrace the grit mindset. Oh, I did remember correctly. And this is the last paragraph or last paragraph. There are 2 sentences. There's an old Chinese saying that you have to wait by the side of river for a very long time before a duck flies into your mouth. The duck doesn't fly into your mouth. You've got to get it, cook it, and then eat it. You have to to get what you want, you have to do the things.
Yeah.
And you need to know what the things are. What I love with the book is if I'm being interviewed or doing a panel, I did an event last month where we had people turn to random pages in the books for prompts for conversation, but I want you to turn to a random page in the book.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Which page did you turn to?
Well, I actually turned to page 2 of Cynthia Cortman Westfall's Wear One Hat at a Time.
Oh, well, gee, I don't know how this you who do how many different things can relate to that one.
Can't relate to that at all. Can't relate to that at all. No, I was
It is,
literally just thinking about that when you were talking about prioritization. Like you
Mhm.
have to know what it is. Like in order to get something done, you have to sometimes let other things go.
You do, because you cannot do everything. And and I just accidentally turned to yours, Harness the Power of Colors. Love that. Yeah, I think she's at what page is Cynthia, so I don't have to look.
Oh, crap, I just flipped away from it. I think it was chapter 40. So,
Well, I knew she was productivity
oh,
chapter.
page
Yeah, I got it.
165.
Okay. 65. Yes. And Cynthia, I mean, she's the chair of the Department of Musical Theater at University of Michigan. She's musical director of shows. You know, she did Come From Away. Oh yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
I'm just reading the bio. Yeah, she does Broadway camp.
Mm,
She does a lot of different things, but what she discovered is, when she is fully, like, she'd be away doing a thing and thinking about home. And
mm.
she'd be at home trying to write emails while spending quality time with the family or some I might be I'm pretty sure. But I'm pretty sure those sound like the right examples from it.
Yeah.
But the bottom line of it is you need to be fully present when you are fully present. When you are doing the different things. I mean, if you're at your son's football game, you're not doing email. You're at the
Right.
game. When you're painting a spirit portrait, you need to be in the zone. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you are not in the zone,
It won't happen.
it will not happen.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah. But I find that when I play that game with people, inevitably, and it's like tarot cards. You read into it what you want, but
Yeah.
inevitably, it
It'll speak to you in
it'll
some
speak to
way.
you. Okay,
Yeah.
let's see which one I randomly flip to
Okay.
today. Ah, use window, not doorway thinking.
Oh, okay.
And Michael Roderick talks about, if you're at an event and you want to meet somebody, don't stand in line with everybody else. Go early, volunteer, reach out beforehand. Or he also and he actually knows Cynthia Toy Johnson, who was in Come From Away on Broadway, who's the one who introduced me to Cynthia Westfall. Even though he didn't introduce me, he's connected to the person that you turn the page to.
Yeah.
But he was a high school teacher who became a Broadway producer, and you would do these readings, or he saw that people would do readings, and people would commit, but they wouldn't show up. So he's like, what do I have to do? Well, what if I do a panel of producers? They have to come. So he looked at what can I do a little bit differently, and I think that's especially appropriate for me right now because the way that I teach book proposals, I teach it to experts, entrepreneurs, and executives.
Mm-hmm.
I teach it to thought leaders in a way that they can incorporate it into their life.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't me, the person who when I was in high school, I would go to the bookstore and I would be poring over which book should I read that's going to help me write the great American novel. Now, most people in the publishing field are talking to the people who already identify as writers. My window is the people who have something to say and need to know how to say it without driving themselves crazy because they're already busy enough.
Mm. That is so specific and so important that it's specific. Because I think that there are so many people that have stories to tell, um, and they just really don't know where to start. They really don't know where to start, myself included, because you've been helping me with mine. Um, and it's so funny because I encounter so many people through color reading or spirit portrait process who want to write books. It's like they're bubbling over with this desire to tell their story about something. And so I always find it fascinating the number of people who are eager to share what they've learned with one another. And it's so powerful. Like you said, you have something to say. There's somebody out there who needs to hear it.
And the people who need to hear it are likely not going to find it unless you get your book out in a mainstream way.
Yeah.
And the other thing that people who fall into the thought leader category need to realize is that agents and publishers, publishing is not going away.
Mm-hmm.
Agents and publishers need good books. It is your job as the thought leader with something to say to give them material, aka out of the park book proposal,
Mm-hmm.
so they can sell you use it to attract an agent, and your agent uses it to attract a publisher, and then the publisher, they have to pitch you to the editorial board. It's not
Okay.
a publisher says, oh, this is great, let's do the book. They need to make a case for your book. So the proposal is making a case for your book.
Got it.
It's the idea, what makes it unique, why you are the best and only person who can write it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so that is the concept. And then the context, it's your platform. Who is your audience? What are your comps? What is this book's place in the world? And then the content, you do the detailed outline and the sample chapters. And I'm going to say, isn't that simple? Well, it's a lot more simple than writing a whole friggin' book,
Yeah, it really
right?
is. Well, plus, like you said, it gives you the framework. It gives you something to ground into so that by the time somebody says, oh my gosh, we love this, we can't wait to read it, you've got something to use as your jumping off point. You have something
Mm-hmm.
that you can use to sit down and actually bang it out.
I'm going to tell you why I was laughing at myself earlier.
Yeah.
Um, when I was talking, because I hadn't said it this way before, but I said, your goal guide had to be a road trip theme because I have no business talking about fitness. The book that my agent sold in less than a month is one that I'm co-writing with the founder of the active grandparenting movement. Her name is Kristen Cofield, and she is into culinary wellness. And one day she posted a video of her picking up her grandchild without hanging on to anything and talking about the importance of being active as a grandparent, being healthy in those years. And it blew up, went viral. And she said, wow, this is a niche that needs a grandfluencer. That's what I call her. Anyway, I had written an article about her for Women's World a couple years ago, and then I started writing for Third Act magazine, and I'm like, we have to put Kristen on it. So I interviewed her and I said, where's your book? And she said, I don't have the bandwidth and I wouldn't want to do it alone. Do you want to write the proposal with me? And then we get the book deal, we write the book together. And I said, you realize I'm single and have no children. And she said, it's a benefit. It's her expertise in the subject matter, my expertise in first building the book proposal and writing the book.
Mhm.
And like I said, our agent sent it out. as an exclusive, and the publisher grabbed it within a month, which is not normal, which is not
Wow.
usual.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I can't say that anymore. I'm going to be co-author on a book that has to do with living healthy.
You
Okay.
can't. That's right. That's right. Well, and I have to say, from my, I just want to say, from my experience in working with you and just being friends with you, is that you really do have this unique ability to see beyond for someone. So you looked at this person and you said, we have to have, we have to write about them. This is, where's
Mhm.
your book? So you
Right.
automatically, you knew this is a possibility for them. I think that's such a big part of your gift and what you bring to people is that foresight. You see what's possible for them.
Thank you. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
like, as you advocate for me and the people around you and the people, oh, you guys need to meet each other. I always, we should be our own best advocate, but if we're not, we need an advocate.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, what I said to Kristen was, if you don't write the book, someone else is. And you are the pioneer of this. It needs to be you.
Mm-hmm.
And we went back and forth, and I'm like, if you're sure you want someone without kids working with you. But again, to her, it was a benefit because I'm not in competition, but I know how to write a
How to do
proposal
it.
that
Yeah.
sells, and I know how to write a book.
I love it. Well, I
It
know
feels
so many people
very,
who are listening to this who are thinking, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to write a book. And I want to point them towards you like an arrow, but tell them where they can find you and how they can
okay.
work with you.
Well, I'm going to first of all, I want to give a homework to
Okay.
anyone who's listening who's like, and this is the same homework that I've given to you. If you know you have a book in you, but you're not quite sure what the book is or what you want to cover, or what to put into it, start a journal. It could be computer document, it could be actual paper, but like a single place where you just put all your thoughts, and a couple days a week just download your brain. Or if you work with clients at the end of the day, write notes on case studies or advice you gave them, whatever, but just start logging
Mm-hmm.
what you think you want your book to be about. Don't look at it. I have a whole thing called directed journaling, which helps you figure out your direction. But really, for the purpose of this, just start cataloging the things that you say, the stuff that you believe. And then one day you're going to be like, okay, I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
When the pieces go into play or you get the enthusiasm, you're like, okay, I've been doing this a lot. I'm starting to see it. It's time to go full throttle. It's what I was talking about before about the side hustle or the passion project.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the other part of it is, and this is how there is a woman, this is how I know it to be true. The stuff that you know, the stuff that you say, the stuff that you teach might be a not yet, or it might be a yet. If it's a yet, call me now. If it's a not yet, look at my articles and start getting organized, and then we'll have a conversation. But I talk about the D, determine your mission, which is visualize, current bio, future bio, mission statement, and motto. There is a woman who took a workshop I led, I think 2016, 2017, who teaches audio. I should know where she teaches, but she's a college professor. And she's been teaching it that way, in that she needs her students to come up with a mission statement and motto before they start to go through and then reflect on it at the end of the year. And this is stuff, like I said, it's the G. It was before I even took my methodology and turned it into the DEB method. This woman was teaching this piece of it.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of it is the basis for the book. Okay, determine your mission. Why are you writing this book? What is it about you that you're compelled to write it? Explore your options is more in the what format, how are you going to tell your story, brainstorm your path, putting all the pieces out there. So it still uses DEB, which you can do for any kind of project. I'm trying to remember what the point I'm making. I just remember what it was, is that sometimes it is a not yet. And I did a podcast on this a couple weeks ago on how do I decide what book to write. I was at an event and this guy asked me this question. I'm like, oh, I'm doing my next podcast on it. You know, you might not know in your head, but you know in your heart and in your soul.
Mm-hmm.
And if you start taking notes, if you let it live in your brain for a little bit of time every week, you will get to a point where you've got enough that you're like, okay, now I need to see how I turn all this knowledge into a book.
Yeah.
And then you can find me. I'm thebookproposalexpert.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn because I always like to connect because, again, can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people. If you're listening, tune in. You can, and I'm going to give this email address, even though it's not set up, but it will be deb@thebookproposalexpert.com. Reach out to me. Let me know what you're working on. And if you go to the website, you can click on resources. You'll see articles that I've written for Writer's Digest. You can subscribe to the podcast, check out my Substack. I am really all about empowering people to spread their message in a way that it actually gets out into the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it is all, and this is with books, it's with goals, it's with everything. It is within your power. It is a choice of where you spend your time and energy. And again, maybe it's a little bit of time each week or a couple times a week, set appointments, track what you're doing. And then it's an hour. And then it's an hour every couple of days each week. And then it's like, okay, wait, I really need to move on this because I am ready.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it. Don't do it before you're ready. Don't write a book because people say, oh, you're so smart, you should write a book. That is like the worst reason to write a book is someone told me I should.
Uh-huh.
Because you need to want it.
Yeah.
You're not writing this book to make money. If you make money, awesome. But you're really writing it to share your story, your knowledge, your methodology, and also to help other people. That's all.
That's all.
See? Book proposal simplified. And you don't have to write the whole book. You just have to conceptualize it.
Yeah.
You have to own your expertise and figure out what is your take. What makes the way that you talk about this so unique that people are going to have to buy it?
Mm-hmm. And I love your homework of jotting down notes and ideas into a Google Doc. When you reminded me that I started one of those, but it's been a while since I visited it. But what I will say is that I think it was, I forget who said it originally. Maybe it was Elizabeth Gilbert. And she said, you know, the thoughts and ideas will come through. They'll come through like a freight train and they're moving through. You have this inspiration for something and you have to catch it. Because if you don't catch it, it will just leave. And I'm noticing recently, for me, when those thoughts or ideas come through like a freight train, and I'm like, I have to get on this train right now, or it's gone. And it happened to me this morning when I was doing I do my daily Bible study, and I've read the story of Rahab and the red cord that she lets out through the window so that the military will save her and her family as they're coming into the city. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, I just had an epiphany about this. And I was like, I have to write about the color scarlet. I have to write about it right now. And so I dropped everything and I just sat and I wrote about it. But it was literally like a freight train. And I knew that if I didn't catch it in the moment and write it down, that it was going to be gone. And so I think that's so important to think about when you have your stories, or what is it that you're curious about, or what are you good at, or what are you the expert in? Those ideas, those thoughts, and those inspirations will hit you, and you got to act on them.
Absolutely. And also remember that sometimes it's a not yet. And a
Mm-hmm.
not yet for your book, it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have had people, terrible business model, who've met me and 5 years later, 8 years later, they're like, Deb, I'm ready to work on my book. Can you help me? I mean, apparently I made an impression. Of course I did, right? But I can name 2 clients of people who heard me speak years before they were ready to work together.
Wow.
Sometimes it's not a not yet. The
Yeah.
other thing, I'm going to give a little bonus tip. to the people who are tuning in, go do an initial comprehensive title search. Know what your topic is, and then you can even Google best books on self-help, business, color therapy, whatever, and see what's out there that is sold in the last 5 years, traditionally, a lot of reviews, and then ask yourself, in what way is my book different? Because, and this is a section that's actually later in the book, but it's overview, audience, and comp titles, I think, are the 3 most important sections of the book. The overview is stating the case for why your book needs to be out in the world. In its simplest terms, that's what it is. Audience is who's going to buy it. And the comp titles are saying, this book is sold. My book is similar for this reason, but it is different for that reason. Therefore, anybody who buys this book is going to buy my book too. So if you're getting a little stuck, if you like, okay, I'm embracing it, this is my expertise, then go see what else is out there and how you can, if it's not already spun on it. Which goes back to the line I changed when your goal guide was being shopped. While other goal books tell you how to achieve your goals, only your goal, actually it was called the DEB Method. Only the DEB Method will help you set the foundation for your goals. Okay, that's different. You know, what is that one line for you? Or variation?
Yeah. Thank you, my friend.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I had so much fun. And I'm so proud of us. So this is the 3rd week in a row we've tried to record this podcast because we do catch-up time and it's spun out of control both times. And we're like, we only did 10 minutes of pre-chat and we're like, no, we're hitting record because we're not going another week without doing this episode. So I will leave your listeners, whatever it is you do, whatever it is you love, what you're the expert at, what you are owning as your gift, own it. It is yours, but it is also yours to share.
Speaking to my heart, Deb. Speaking to my heart. Thank you. I know you said that for me too.
Thank you so much for this. This is great.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me today on Your Radiant Spirit. Every conversation here is an invitation to go beyond the surface, to listen to what your soul has been whispering, and to step into the life you've been longing for. If you're ready to go deeper, to work in a way that's personal, creative, and profoundly transformative, you'll find ways to connect with me in the show notes. Whether it's through art, a guided session, or a fully immersive journey, you'll discover a space where your truth is seen and your next chapter begins. If this episode spoke to you, it would mean the world if you shared it with a friend, left a review, or subscribed so more people can discover the conversations we have here. Until next time, my friend, keep noticing the colors, the moments, and the nudges. They're all leading you home. And for now, take a breath, hold on to what resonated, and carry it with you into the rest of your day. Thanks for listening.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.